social media and where is it? Papers.
That's what I put down.
Okay, what, including video recording being available, or that's the wording you put in there.
I'm sorry?
The wording you put in there was, including video recording made available and archived on the web.
Yes. The red,
Yeah,
all in red.
and also under the publication part, so that's at 307.
Right. I was in consultation with the newspaper, because there's a big push to turn governments from where you have to request everything to where they're presenting it. And, basically, we're operating on a 1975 cassette recorder that she has 2 tapes and they're erasing. And I wanted to bring that to your attention. She's recording public meetings and then turning around and erasing the meetings next time.
After she has logged them,
Right, after she's done minutes.
after she's done the minutes.
But it's still, I mean, tapes are $1 a piece. To have that,
Sounds like a legal decision to me.
well, it is, it truly is. I mean, it's a technicality, truly, but we could have had all those, meetings. See, when our meeting minutes are reduced, our committee reports are lost. We don't get, the committee report they do at council, have been really good. They have improved tremendously, that all the committee heads are doing good minutes, and they read them, but then she condenses them to where you don't really know what went on at that meeting. And I just want the minutes to, so you know at least what transpired, who was there. And see, this video, in my eyes, makes a leap from cassette recorder to digital. Because most places are on CDs, like Nort's on CD. You can go get any meeting on a CD and take it home and play it. And I have what Seth Roy wrote me back, and he does a lot of it. So he says Newark already has it to where you can get basically digital packets of committee meetings, the whole committee meeting, and then all of city council, plus all the ordinances written out, and it's all available to them, and it's online already. So there, I mean, Heath
I
is way
suppose
behind.
Heath Council could make that available without a charter amendment. They could just.
They could, but this, in my eyes, in the charter, it transcribes council. It's in the rules. And nobody can change, or it takes every 10 years or a vote by the people to really change it. And, we don't have to think about, I'm kind of big on,
The only thing that we've gotta think about when we make these things, is this is done every 10 years.
Right.
Is something going to change in that time frame that makes us dig ourselves into a hole?
the World Wide Web, I think, is gonna be with us for a
Yeah,
while.
it's gonna be with us.
I truly believe that, and we can change it if it were a necessity or something come up, but 10 years is not unreasonable. Newark does theirs every 5 years. I don't know if you saw that in the paper. But Newark's doing their charter review too, and it's done every 5 years. But I think 10 years is fine, and, truly, the World Wide Web, I think we're on an infancy basis here personally. And I think the more we do to inspire the city to get technology in here, the better off we're gonna be. And this takes transparency to a new level. It truly does. Turns it around. To change anything in the city, basically you gotta come down here between 8 and 4, request from the people. In our case, it turned out to be an argument, which was, it was hostile. I mean, the atmosphere down here was hostile toward us.
I wasn't hostile to you.
You weren't. No, you were never hostile.
I was always nice to you.
But some of the police department, some of the city officials were very hostile. And you're asking them, for documents, and it's not a good situation. And even, what the papers, what Seth says from the paper, any encumbrance we're putting upon them will also be relieved in the fact that they don't have to comply with records requests. Basically, they can refer you to the website, it's already there. And things like this are really moving. If you look at the state of Ohio, they've done a big transparency deal where records are now all online. You can go look up teacher salaries or anything public information you want. Of course, not addresses, and this, it's illegal to publish the addresses, so no public, just public documents, all we're looking at.
I've got no problem with this, your suggestion on adding it to 605. I question whether it's needed under the mayor.
What is it that you're adding?
He shall make,
Oh, I'm sorry.
about the mayor shall make available and archive on the World Wide Web all municipal contracts, agreements, conveyances, evidences, and indebtedness and other instruments to which the municipality is a party. That might be a little bit much, I don't know. I'm just questioning.
Basically, above, I think there's,
The changes about the council clerk, I have no problem with that one. But I don't know, there's probably some documents that can't be released, and I don't know whether that's gonna put us into a hole or not.
the only public documents, see the mayor's supposed to affix his seal or his city seal to official documents. And at that time, it should be deemed whether it is, if there's any information in it that should not be released. And the mayor would then not release it. I mean, if only public,
Would we have to put a disclaimer in here then?
no, it's law.
Wasn't the mayor gonna do that anyway when he first was elected? There was something about that.
He talked about it, yes, our
I
mayor's.
told him if he knows about the meeting, I don't know if he's gonna make it or not. I know they had a meeting at the Port Authority too.
Well, there's also, I think there's planning commission, that may do too.
I don't think it is tonight. Last time, because of the timing was different on it. That's why they did that same time.
But yeah, and the wording, yeah, I mean, it definitely needs checked. Here's a letter I got back from Seth. I had sent your questions to Kent and Craig, but didn't get any feedback
Kent
yet.
Craig or who?
Kent Mallett.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
This is Seth Roy from the Advocate. I think the ideas are good. It would be interesting to hear the discussion on making everything. Uh-oh. I see my printer cut things off. Shoot. I lost part of my print here. I didn't read this when I went to push print.
It was wider than the
Yes,
printout.
it was wider than the printout apparently.
Ad-lib.
Anyway, he said, I would love to hear the discussion about making everything public. Newark already does it. and they have what's called council packets, which included the agenda, the ordinances, and the minutes. And he said that's freely available.
Is it on the World Wide Web?
Yes, he
Is it on
said
the
it
web?
is on their website. And so that's where we're really, we need to make a leap instead of just a step in my eyes. He suggested calling it digital video recordings. He said that may be redundant because basically World Wide Web is digital, so he questioned that one in his own mind. He also said that he felt that the not having to deal with public information requests would offset the time that it took to, do a few clicks to save it. And he said it also made it great for them because it was available anytime. Because now they work off shift, it seems, a lot of evenings. So
Do you know why you use World Wide Web versus internet?
just because that's truly its name. And of course, that's what the www stands
Right.
for. That was the most basis I could find versus internet, because you've got internet
Is
in-house.
that paper still in there?
And you've also got intranet.
Intranet, which is
Yeah,
within the
so,
company.
yeah, and same
Yes,
here, they should have one.
Yes, oh, yeah. Oh, he doesn't wanna see you. He says you're not welcome. In fact, he sent me out to lock it over before you got in there.
Oh, well, you didn't hold it. You got fast enough, didn't you?
This is my wife, Becky,
Hi.
coming to check on me.
I'm sorry I wasn't fast enough.
He's really here.
I
Forgive
actually
me.
want you to know that I found that stack
Oh,
of
the
stuff,
minutes?
if you want it, it's up
Yeah,
to you.
well, this is a pure explanation of how uninformative our minutes are. This is a comparison between Hebron, Hanover, all Newark, all of them. And the difference is striking. You might, look at it, ours are on top, and then, some of the other Granville, this Pataskala, and Pataskala also has theirs video. But theirs,
If the concern is the committee minutes, for example, aren't getting assimilated into the council minutes, why couldn't they just be a required attachment?
That's what I did, I always did it. Every time I would read it, I would give it to her and I said, make this part of the minutes.
that's where I
I picked up on
commended
that.
him. I commended him repeatedly,
And
because
That way it makes it official.
Yeah.
So
What
she
was,
should be able to go-
what was part of the minutes?
After I read my committee reports,
Oh.
I told her to make it part of the minutes.
Okay. A lot of them aren't written though. I can tell they're just reading off the notes. They don't really have written reports.
right.
And they're never filed anywhere. They're just notes.
She was supposed to be doing it, cause that's what I gave her the instructions to do. I said, hey,
And she
make
would.
this part, and then I'd hand her my
Yeah.
copy of the minutes.
Well, I'm sure anybody who gives a written report and asks her to make it part of the minutes, she would.
Good.
They're just not writing reports. They're just giving them orally.
And well, see, the video steps past that. I'm not gonna worry about, myself about the minutes, how she condenses them, if we have video. It's a leap past, because you're getting all those reports read in those meetings, and we're missing all that. We don't get the back and forth in our representatives. We don't know how any one of our representatives feel unless they finally oppose it up there, like Deb Cole did with, this last
Second
vote.
hand.
Yeah,
deal.
that's the only time you get to know how your representatives feel about an issue. When you miss those, committee meetings, you miss all that back and forth. And, after this, I'm not done. I would like council to step forward and, mount a camera right there, because the information we're missing from John Groff, John Geller, all the information in these committees, they do it once and it's gone.
And you're just talking about the committee reports presented to council, at council, right?
Right.
Just,
Now.
not just separate committee meetings that might be off to the side or.
Right, well, I would love to see all public meetings.
Cause this just talks about council.
Right, and that's all I'm after here, I'm trying to keep it simple.
That's really the only thing we have is council committee meetings, between the other meetings.
Well,
Unless
you
you
got
call
your
the
planning
Fourth of
commission.
July and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the planning and things that go on.
The planning commission would be a real nice one.
But planning commission is part of the council.
Well, I was just curious, I may be dumb on the subject, but where it says all the proceedings of council, is that all inclusive?
No.
See, the
This
term-
strictly talks to the council meetings.
Okay.
Doesn't talk
Yes.
about planning commission or.
Nothing else. I
Those that aren't
I intend on
part of
going
the
to
social-
council and asking them
Ah, okay.
to step forward and do
That
that.
aren't
Okay,
associated
I got
with it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was saying, what this is all talking about is strictly committees and stuff that the council is associated with, which is all your committee meetings, the planning commission and the planning is part of it because the, council is part of the planning commission, but the zoning committee is not part of it, and a couple of the other ones aren't part of it.
Yeah. But yeah, all I'm focused on is just council in this.
Well, as far as this phrase here under 504, and the wording of that'd be something,
Yeah.
Which one?
under 504 on the last page.
Number 12.
Yeah.
That's what I question.
Is that,
As to whether we need to include that in there, that's what I was questioning him, is there something that might bite us in the butt? I could see the council, minutes and all that stuff, but I was just
Well,
questioning.
I think you can get to it seems to me that you can get to the ordinances now.
Well, these are the contracts,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is-
the
this is-
mayor's side,
Yeah, this is
because see,
even more.
they then, and, yeah, the mayor's side is all the public documents of contracts, basically.
Right,
But it also, when he signs off on indebtedness, like,
Bonds.
whatever he signed and makes official, cause there's if you read preceding in one of these,
seal.
yeah, right here, he's affixing his seal. And that, he's determining it to be an official document and instrument to the municipality. And those, are totally public record, are they not?
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
can
they'd be
request
available
them,
to public records
you can
request.
go request them all. And they have, by law, they have to supply them. This just steps out of the way that they don't have to comply with that. Once they're done with it, they save it and they put their seal to it, they save it to the internet.
605, if we were talking with 605.
But you should
Makes sense.
clarify all the terminology as it is there, that
Well, it
it's,
appears it picked up the
It's-
terms above it, so.
that's what I was, exactly.
Yeah, at first glance, it looks clear to me.
I was gonna go ahead and email it to, Chris, I talked to him, he texted me and I was gonna email it to him tonight, and I'll email it to Ron too, just paper form and digital form.
Well, I hope to finish up tonight, so we could vote on it and get it out of here.
But we still gotta double check the wording to get it council, do we not?
Well, we could take our official action and we'll be finished, but then it's still gotta go through council. I don't know whether the council can override or not, I don't think they can. I think they gotta pass it on through, whatever we approve,
I think that's
whatever
right.
we approve, the council's gotta pass through.
To vote.
Right.
I believe that's true. I think it'd be a good idea though to have a meeting of everybody on the on the commission.
I would love to hear their opinions, because they were both councilmen too. So I would love to have their input, but I tried to do it with the minimalist, approach, not taxing the city anymore, than what they already are, so.
I don't know who our webmaster is, I've never gotten around to asking about that.
Well,
but
Jenna's doing it now, and,
I noticed
not
last time I
to be-
looked, it was under construction, so.
well, it's been under, I have to say, somebody needs some lessons, or somebody needs, and it's apparent.
I guess I got one more question. This is under that 307. The way it's worded there, including video recording, does that mean that it's mandatory that video recordings be done? Or does it mean if there is video recordings, it has to be there? Now, you can take it different ways. That's my question.
The way I read it, it's, if there are recordings, then they'd have to be published, but it doesn't require video recordings.
That's what my question was.
You read it that way, huh?
That's the
Because
way
see,
I read
the
it.
camera is mounted on the ceiling.
But they don't have to turn it on.
Right.
And I don't know whether they do, I've never required.
So that's,
Well, they have, but they've never gotten one working to the internet yet.
so,
So you think they
Yes,
are,
I
you
question
think
that.
they are turning them on, they're turning the camera on for
It has,
council meetings?
it has been on, yes.
Okay.
They tried it a few times and it was the wrong format of camera.
Uh-huh.
So, and it made huge files. So they
So much
changed cameras and, did a digital hard drive to record it on. And they have done it, and there's a few copies in there. I have not public requested them yet or anything. But, yeah, there are some. But that's a good point, because if you're reading it that way,
Doesn't the
I
word
would like
shall
us-
mean that it should
She'd
be?
keep
It shall
accurate
keep it.
records written.
Yeah, shall keep.
I read it to say,
They have
shall
to
keep an
carry the
accurate
shall.
journal of the proceedings.
Right.
so
Shall
yeah,
keep.
if you're reading it another way, I'd really like to look at changing the
Yeah.
language. So, and.
So your
what are
intent, your intent was that to require the videoing of it.
Yes, sir, it really was, yes. It's on the ceiling already, I mean, it's just a matter of, requiring them to do it.
We don't visualize any technical problems with doing that. I mean, as far as keeping it on the web and stuff like that.
I will show you, I can show you
Yours
after
got
this
this.
meeting
Yours got
exactly
this.
how easy it is.
I know a lot of people do it, you know.
Yeah, it is not a problem,
You know,
and
you-
they should not be having the technical issues that they are having. They are not using the proper people or something.
If they happen to have just a coincidental failure of the camera right at council meeting time, would that mean they couldn't meet? Well, I'm just,
Not the way it's written.
worst case scenario.
Not the way it's written out.
But
if we
if
make,
it's written.
if we
that
make
it's
something
required.
changes in and make it mandatory, that could shut them down for a meeting. Unless you put some disclaimer in.
Again, depends on how it's worded, but sure, it could, if it's worded that way.
Like if you change that sentence to begin, the red part, to begin, that include complete minutes and video recordings that shall be, made available and archived on the
Again.
World Wide Web. Now, if you do that and the camera happens not to work, you could be forcing a cancellation of the meeting.
They might not even know if it's just up in the ceiling. It's-
Well, that's true.
They
Even with the
wouldn't
words
know.
you use,
They really
even with
wouldn't
words,
know till
words
after
you use
the
there,
meeting
Jack,
was
it could
over.
still be construed as not mandatory, so we gotta do some word that, if that's the intent, you gotta make it keep it separate or something, keep the, putting it on the web separate from the recording. Maybe a complete journal, in a journal, and record it. And then you would follow up with putting it on the website. So you gotta group it together.
That's right. I
Shall,
mean,
shall keep an accurate and video recordings of.
Well, it says including.
Well, but
Yeah, that's what.
that says, if you got it, if you have it, you gotta include it in the web. It's part of about putting it on the web. So if you got a video you can include it,
I
but it
think the
doesn't say that
wording-
you have to video it.
I think the wording including
Means that-
means points toward putting it on the web.
Right.
Right.
But it kinda makes it sound like only
Yeah.
if that's an option to.
If there are,
include-
if there are video
recordings.
recordings, then they'd have to be published.
But
Just
simply,
just like if there are proceedings, and she needs to keep a copy, but if there aren't any proceedings, they don't need that.
Right.
Make some, just,
yeah, it's like clerk of council shall keep an accurate and complete journal of proceedings and a, video recording of
So it's-
sessions and those minutes and those journals and recordings shall be made available on.
So instead of shall keep, why can't they just put are required? Or can it be that specific?
well, I can word it once I know what your
What's the-
wants.
Well, what do you guys
what the
think? Do you
result is
think
you
it should
want.
be required? Or, I mean, like I said, if, when you're recording something, you really don't know until after the fact if it didn't record, but that would not null and void the meeting by any,
Well, that's my concern. Whatever we do in there, we gotta make sure that it doesn't
yeah, 'cause
void the sanction and make an illegal sanction because the camera didn't work.
yeah, I don't wanna null and void any
Yeah.
meeting, by any measure of the imagination.
Is there an
Right.
alternate clerk in case she's
Yeah.
sick? There is, and that's specified.
If she's not there, somebody, like Jenna will do it, sometimes Linda will
Okay.
do it, so.
Someone from the office steps in.
I was thinking the same way about the person versus the camera.
It's
not
the, it's the,
being
it's the
available.
position, it's not person,
Okay.
we're not really talking about Lynn, we're talking about whoever's in that
Whoever's
position
doing
at the
it.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, right now, Lynn's not anyhow, anyway seemingly affiliated with the videoing. Jenna is, had been setting it to come on and recording. All they had to do was turn on the microphones and the amps, but she had it automatically set at time for the camera to come on, record the meeting, and then it shut off. It didn't shut off till like 9:30 or something, and she just cut the tape, cut the video wherever the meeting ended. But Jenna, the mayor's assistant, has been doing it, not council clerk. So it's someone really doing the job that, in my eyes, really shouldn't be doing the job. It should be the clerk, with council.
Can you put something to the fact that with the exception of technical difficulties, because the lights could go out for that matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and
That's a good point. I mean,
Yeah,
power
I
could
mean,
go
you
off,
could-
but-
and the council only has one employee, and that's the clerk, but the city's got everybody else. I mean, the administration, the mayor has everybody else working for him. So there'd be more people available to do it if it wasn't the clerk required to do it, if you see what I mean. If you just said that the mayor shall cause it to be done or something like that. And he's got the fire department, the police department, and the sewer department, everybody else. You know, you can't say, well, nobody's available, whereas with the clerk, she's not there, and then there's nobody else to turn to except somebody from some other municipal employee.
They do step up quite well.
Yeah,
And if if 504 is appropriate to say all of these other instruments would be put on the web, would you put it under there that that's another mayoral duty?
that's what I was
Just to-
thinking,
Yeah.
it'd be worth considering anyway to do it that way.
Now well, 504 may not be correct, 9 because, well, not 9 anyway, because that's talking about being a contracting officer. That's a unique section there, but certainly under the mayor's duty section. So-
Well, isn't that under the mayor's?
This
duty?
one is, but
Yeah.
The 12th, yeah.
yeah, I'm just looking at.
Oh, I see.
This is, he shall be the contracting officer. So I'm thinking all of this has to do with
No.
that duty, doesn't it, right here?
No, there's actually.
It has everything to do about the duties of the mayor, you got 8 more besides that, so
Yeah,
it's just
that's
separate.
just
So
a
somewhere
cutoff.
in 504
Yeah.
would be, yeah.
Yeah,
There you are.
Section
Yeah.
5, if you look at it, there's a whole list before that.
Yeah.
And I just cut off.
Here's the setup.
There it is, there it is, okay.
Just divide it
If you
down.
wanna see 504,
I've got it. Powers and duties of the mayor.
Yeah, that's 504.
And that's where I put
Those
it
are all
at the
sometimes
end,
underneath that.
after the C.
Yeah, under his-
Because that's truly when he's deeming making municipal documents public in my understanding.
I like number 12. Either Latin or 13 on this new one.
Yeah.
He shall perform other duties as conferred. I always like those statements.
We always put them in ours, don't we? Did that?
Yeah.
That's kind of,
Yeah,
As a
and that makes the lawyer have to read the whole thing to see if there's anything else that's not listed in 504.
We do that at work and then we can point to it. Somebody says, that's not my job, wait a minute. It's a-
Whatever else we tell you to do.
Yeah. And other duties
Now-
as assigned.
Yeah.
About this video recording, if we're gonna meet there, we might not have to say that the clerk of council has to make sure it's included, but she has to assure it happens. It shouldn't be really her duty, but she maybe has to assure that it gets recorded. Or she gets assign somebody else to do it, or, you know.
Yeah, the thing is, she works for the council and everybody else works for the mayor. So I don't know if she has any authority over anybody else.
she does, yeah, and they don't have.
She does, but if she has a problem, and she can say something to the mayor, and the mayor can say, well,
Yeah, yeah, they do as a matter of courtesy, but, you know, to put it in the charter that way, something to
or
think about.
is there another place we could put it, other than under the clerk of council?
Well, I think maybe put it under 504, tell
Under
them,
the
say the mayor has to
mayor.
do it, or make sure that it gets done. But he's got a lot of people working for him.
You know, he shall ensure X, you know.
So then 307 can stay the way it is then. We make that a responsibility of 504 and then
Yeah.
add the council and.
And I'm just answering good questions, I'm not saying I have a preference.
It
one way or
makes
the
sense,
other.
it might try to make it cleaner. And you
Well,
still
but
get,
she's gotta do the ordinances, I mean,
who does the ordinances?
She writes a lot of the ordinances for appropriations and that kind of thing, and then I write the ones that aren't in the normal routine.
10 years from now, do you think that'll change?
Sorry?
10 years from now, would that change, like her?
And the ordinances stuff's
like
already
her
covered
not
under another
being
section.
Under the mayor?
No, the charter,
The ordinance is
Still
already
keeps
covered
stay
under
there, okay.
section
she's the person
416.
council, that's the.
Okay, that's what the charter said.
Yeah.
So we're okay on 416. 416 can't say the ordinances anyway. Now, we don't have any, and there's no video in the ordinances, I mean, right? So I think we're okay on 416, right?
There it is.
Yeah, about publication of it. Or do we need something in there also?
Well, they're on the web now, I
Yeah.
believe.
That's where,
Well, the
we had
ordinances.
talked about putting that social media and.
but see, this is
Yeah,
for,
we,
the
I've got a
internet.
note, yeah.
this is for the posting.
Right.
And the others already done, see, that's why I figured she's already doing that side. And she's gotta do the minutes, in fact, she could do away with the tape recorder and start doing her minutes from the video. She's gotta listen to one or the other.
And with a tape recorder, where you stop, back up.
Yeah, you got a foot pedal rule.
Yeah, we back up.
Shut off.
With the video, you're gonna have to go all the way back through it and start all over, get back up and do it, so you still need to do the recorder, I would think. I would not allow the recorder. You might not have to keep them anymore, since you're duplicates, once you get done writing them up,
Well, no, there has to be,
but the video is the same thing.
well, there's a,
You're gonna
the charter requires a journal.
Right, I'm saying you don't have to, that takes care of the problem of copying over the tape,
Oh.
because the tapes are the same as on the video,
Right, exactly.
So,
It's just,
you know. But this
Yeah,
is for
that
her,
would do- that
for
would
her
do away
convenience
with-
rather than writing shorthand, this is the tape.
yeah, that would
And I'd hate to
definitely,
try to do minutes over the video. I'd take a month to probably do it. You miss one word, you gotta back up and start all over again.
The, going back to 416, where it says these ordinances and resolutions will go in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks. I think Brenda's correct last time. We mentioned, is that antiquated or is there a better way? Than just put it in, only in the newspaper?
Well,
And that's where we talked about doing the social media part of it, whether you put it on the
He's got it
internet
on
or-
there, Jack,
He,
See,
on-
that would
on the web.
include on this.
under 16.
well, it says publications on part of the newspaper, it doesn't say anything.
Under the sheet that he gave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Under the
4.16.
Yeah.
Well, it's, basically the whole ordinance,
I got you.
including the publication, will be on by
Part,
this.
it says on part of the newspaper. It didn't- The first sentence talks about it, but then the second sentence is on part of the newspaper.
Do you have these new ones?
Oh, did you,
The new one.
from when you, no, he gave me one the other day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you change it?
I didn't see
I'm sorry.
Keep it squared away. Don't you go crazy.
bag,
Oh, I got too many sheets. I didn't get real prepared.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's got
I
all.
think you had it there, it's just, you just now opened it, so,
I'll flip it over one more.
yeah.
but it says, but it still doesn't say anything about like social media.
It just mentions World Wide Web.
Yeah, it just mentioned the web is different than the social media part of it.
Right, you're talking like Facebook.
I'm talking like Facebook, Twitter, all that
I
stuff,
don't
cause
know
the
about
big
that.
event, I mean,
Well, see, that's a big reach right now, and I was gonna look at trying to get some of that down the road with,
You might have to hire a new person that's younger and more tuned into that stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
some
and,
of
and
that-
these companies might not last 10 years too. Like
Right.
Facebook, it's hard to imagine
Exactly.
that'll go
It's
away,
not going
but,
away.
but a lot of things that happened in the past 10 years, I couldn't.
well,
imagine.
MySpace,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was the Facebook of 4 years ago. I
Yeah.
mean, it changes very
well, and that's why
rapidly.
you put social media, you don't say Twitter, you just put the social media part of it, and that's what cause I printed out what the definition of social media was, it's basically the mobile technology part of it,
Right.
and the communication part of it, but.
Yeah, it's still part of the larger internet or World
Right.
Wide Web, I guess.
It
I
is
wouldn't be
a piece of-
surprised if these other municipalities are putting their minutes on the web, or their meetings on the web. It's a link to Facebook, I bet.
Right.
And Hebron, I talked to the Linda out there, the office lady, and she basically does everything, including the webpage. But she has got a Facebook page and is promoting it. I mean, it is happening.
See, and that's what, but that's different than, the internet, but then the other part,
Yeah,
the
it's social.
Facebook is the social media part of it, and I think if you're gonna change this in 10 years, you better put something in there, cause it's not, the web is gonna be there, but then I think you're gonna develop into all these different applications and social media part of it, that it could change.
Yeah, but can't you put links in on Facebook and stuff to take it to the website?
Yeah,
See, so why worry about it?
it would, that's where it's going.
Right,
Yeah,
so
it
why
will
worry
go
about
that
it?
way, and
Put it on the web,
hopefully
you're
the
done.
mayor and his staff will get to that point, that they're that friendly with it.
So you're saying keep it a little simpler for now and let
Right
it
now,
grow,
I'm
let it
saying,
grow.
let's stick to just the official government website of public documents only, and the minutes.
So,
This does away with our paper minutes. It's, stepping us from 75, basically, from a tape recorder.
where it says part of the newspaper, then if that's the case, should you put part of the newspaper and the World Wide Web or the internet? Because it just says the newspaper part of it, that sentence just says the
The
newspaper,
very
a
first
failure,
sentence, the very
right?
first sentence.
But see, the newspaper, all she has to do is the title, and on the web, I wanted her to do the whole document. So you
Right.
could read it. See, in the newspaper, all it is.
So it's two different entities.
Yeah, all that newspaper is actually just the title, and,
But
there's a clause actually on the written page of that,
But it doesn't say anything about a failure to publish. You said,
well, I'm not making it an offense if it doesn't officially undo anything or
okay,
make anything unofficial if she doesn't
doesn't do
publish.
it, it kinda goes back to what we talked about, if they don't record it for the, okay.
We don't wanna, not trying to criminalize it or just,
Yeah, and you're telling them it's on the web, they wanna look at it, just go to the web and look at it.
That's the key, and that should help them here in the office too. If you want something, it's on the web already.
Save expenses.
Well, it should,
8 hours.
once they get used to it, it should save them time and they,
Back on 307, was it gonna just take that red out of there and move it over under the mayor's responsibility?
Yeah, I could see doing that, but,
Does that make sense?
Administratively, it might be more convenient for the city to do it that
So we
way.
just need to add a little bit more onto the contract and add that on it. Does that make sense?
and
what you make him do, you probably put it all in
And I
the
like
number
that.
12 clause.
I like
Yeah, I
your,
was thinking,
Yeah.
and I like the words you use, the mayor shall cause. That's kinda like in the beginning of 416, the clerk of council shall cause this to happen, the video recording to happen.
No choice, you should do it. That's
Shall
that's
cause,
great
or
language. Shall.
Shall cause. And,
Shall make available. That's what 12 says.
But what you're saying, you said earlier, the shall doesn't make a requirement, it's just that they shall do it, right?
well, shall normally means it's a requirement.
Will-
But in the-
Will is the.
Will is mandatory.
Well,
Correct.
okay. In my opinion, shall is the word in legislation that makes it mandatory more often than not. The trouble with shall is, and I've studied drafting pretty heavily with it, there can be 8 different meanings for shall in legal documents. And must is the word that they should be using, but they don't. Because in a contract, sometimes shall means it's going to happen. Other times it means it's required to happen. Other times, you can tell by the context, he means should. But, you just never know. But all the way through the charter, they're using shall, and it would, just stick in must might be, if you use 2 different words, that suggests you mean 2 different things. So I'd say sticking with
Keep it
shall.
shall.
Yeah, I know in our contracts, we always use shall to indicate it's an absolute requirement.
Yeah,
And should if it's kind of optional.
yeah.
We'll throw that in there every once in a while. So, yeah. Should would be a nice thing. And people still get it.
And in contracts, sometimes somebody will say will, and that makes it a promise, that I will do it, so that's.
I
that's
will if I
fine.
get around to it.
Yeah, yeah, they always like to have deadlines in
That's right.
contracts too. Yeah, it's just, talk about antiquated, I think that's antiquated. I've read a book or 2 on the subject by the guy's the editor of the Black's Law Dictionary now, and he's written a bunch of books on legal writing and legal drafting. So I didn't make all this up, but yeah, I think as a matter of fact, 8 was the number he came up
Now,
with.
if we go forward with making those changes to 504 and making it 12, do we also have to do one then to change 12 to 13, or would that just be understood?
Well, see, that little red
If we add-
3 is in there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To put it to the voters, we wouldn't have to put to the voters to change 12 to 3 if we're adding a new 12. That's my question. Would we have to say, okay, change existing 12 to 3 and add a new 12? Is that how it's gonna have to go to the voters, or can we just say, add this to the mayor's duties?
Yeah, well, I'd wanna know what the Board of Elections says. I don't know how that looks on the ballot language. If it goes so far as to say what paragraph it's in, or if it just says it's added to
the
that.
duties of the mayor.
Yeah, I just don't know the answer to that, but we can find out.
Does that one always have to be the last one? Like,
It makes sense if it is, usually, but
That's what I.
Yeah, it's the
felt.
catch-all clause, and they usually go at the
It'd be
end.
kinda nice if all you had to put on the ballot is add to 504 on this statement.
Yeah, and then
and it would
let
automatically
the
renumber.
publisher put it wherever he wants it.
So you can have a good time anyway.
Yeah, but I see why you've made it the new 12, and then, and let the old
Yeah,
12
because it
fits
is a
13.
catch-all at the end there.
Yeah.
Now, so 307 is okay? We're not changing 307. Correct?
We're moving that to
If we put it over in the, I'm happy if you put it in the mayor.
Okay, now,
He ain't gonna like me much.
now, what about the requirement for the video recording? Are we gonna make that a requirement or not a requirement?
Well, that would be part of that same statement.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
are we going to do
How
that?
would
If
you
so,
word it to make sure it got done?
Well, I'd probably sit and think a while before I got it done, but just offhand, I'd say the clerk of council shall keep an accurate and complete journal of the proceedings of the council and shall make video recordings.
but we don't want her to do that.
Well, we're
Yeah,
at.
but, okay, so if you make it the mayor, you just say,
But he's
He shall
getting two
make-
jobs in this one clause. Do we make
His
another
staff is
clause?
getting it.
Well, but he's also,
yeah,
well, his
but we can
staff.
make two paragraphs out of that. You could say, for the sake of argument, the mayor shall keep, shall cause video recordings to be made of the proceedings of council and shall make them available and archived on the World Wide Web at the city website. Off the top of my head, that would be something like
And
that.
there's precedence to that shall cause, because that's the way it's phrased in other places, and it's already for certain other
Yeah.
responsibilities, shall cause it to happen.
Okay, I like those words, but that clarifies it.
Yeah.
It's two separate things we're talking about.
Yeah, and if you do two paragraphs there, that would cover it,
So,
because
clerk-
one, he's doing records of.
So
the
307 is dead, right?
Yep, 307 is dead.
Alright. 416, go back on that one real quick. Any problems with that, 416, do we wanna go with it or just forget it?
No, that's where she posts it on there preceding, people can read it. They don't have to go, you know, they don't, and you don't have to buy a paper.
Yeah, this is about ordinances and resolutions, so.
Alright, so 416, 410, what's that, reference to 410 mean?
Oh, that's where he can,
I thought everybody got it in blue.
That's a
well, it
hyperlink.
just did that, it's a paper, yeah,
Oh,
it's just the
it's no,
second.
it's no change.
No,
Okay.
it just comes up that way in my program.
That looks like it's probably a hyperlink into 410.
Yeah, it would be.
So you can jump back.
You could right click on that and say remove hyperlink. I found out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't mean anything.
So,
Okay.
only what's in red and the one website come up in blue.
Okay.
They wanna come up in blue.
Well, Dave was in for these to the sections, but I don't think we wanna wait around. And then we're all set on 506. What I passed out, I'll give what color copy of it. And what we're talking about on the other one is it'll be one ballot issue, and it will state 305, President of Council delete in the event that the office of mayor shall become vacant, the President of Council shall become mayor and shall serve for an unexpired term. We're deleting that. We are adding section 506, vacancies occasioned by the resignation, death, or failure to maintain qualifications for the office, removal or recall of the mayor shall be filled for the unexpired term by a majority vote of the members elected to council. Period. We're not gonna restrict it to council because, well, the council members might not be able to take the position. And you can't fill the position if we put it in there. And Ron wanted to restrict it to the council, but I think we're fighting our foot if we do. It should be open. If the council wants to approve a council person, they can do it.
They can do either.
How you feel about that?
Well, then we're back to pretty much where we were before.
Right.
That was the objection I heard was that it wasn't limited to somebody who was elected.
Right.
But, I think you could, you know, if you leave it as is, then the, president of the council gets first crack at it, and then if he doesn't want it, then you wind up doing what you're doing there.
Right, so if we delete that out requirement from the president, that clears it out, and we'll pick it up under vacancy. If the president council gets it, he gets it. But it's not, doesn't make that one of his duties. Because I don't like the idea of, he can't fulfill that duty, so he resigns. This way, he doesn't have to worry about it, he can do his job, he's happy being president of council, let him be president of
Where's the
council.
old statement that you wanted to delete?
Look under 305,
3, okay, I'm way off.
under the old one. The rest of it is okay. And, what I put down for rationale is that, making these changes will no longer, because we gotta put some kind of rationale with it. Making these changes will no longer require the president of the council to automatically become mayor. There may be someone that will do a great job as a councilman or president of the council, but not able to take over as mayor due to their circumstances at the time, and the mayor bringing a full-time job. This is also how the vacancy of the auditor is filled. The president of the council would still fill in for the mayor on a temporary short-time basis. That would be part of that ordinance, but that'd be an explanation as to why we're changing.
Can you email that to me?
No.
I don't know that.
I'll give you a copy. I'll leave it on. I'll leave it on. Him also.
Yeah.
But that would clarify that one. Yeah. We've already approved that one, so it's just.
Well, this one's interesting in Newark's charter. It simply says, in the event of a vacancy of the office of mayor, the office shall be filled in a manner provided in the laws of the state of Ohio governing statutory planned cities.
See, so they don't automatically do it.
They don't even cover it, so.
I think the state of Ohio says that the Ohio Revised Code, I think, says that the president of council takes over in the absence of the mayor. So I think they're incorporating that by reference by them bringing it.
And they could wind up with the same problem.
Yeah,
Because mayor's a full-time, if the clerk has an outside job and he's making $200,000 a year, why would he wanna, unless he's ready to retire, why would he want to stop the job, get off his $200,000?
but you might still want him to be the president of council for other reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are we doing anything that counters the state? I mean, that would put us in a bad position.
No, I don't believe so,
Okay.
because I think that covers home rule. The idea of not publishing it in the newspaper anymore, I think maybe that would be against, I think the state might require that. But,
So we still gotta do that part.
yeah,
Okay, I
probably
get it.
still ought to do that.
The Ohio Revised Code won't supersede what our changes are.
Well, the Ohio Revised Code tells how to run a city or a village when it doesn't have a charter. But, and if there is a charter under home rule, you can do it differently. But unless it's a so-called general law, and who knows what a general law is, it's never been defined. But if it's a general law, then the charter can't contradict the Ohio Revised Code. But if it's not a general law, then it can.
And that's what we were discussing the other day about the charter and stuff. That one recommendation we had the last time, it was gonna contradict what the state law said on it. So that's why we had to scratch that one.
Yeah, that's in the municipal charters. That's how the state outlines what you can and can't do.
3 months ago, I didn't know the answer to your question, so I'm
Okay,
learning
now,
fast, I hope.
Just to get things all straight then, so the only thing we're gonna be making a change to is 416, or is,
I'll email those to you if you like them digital.
Okay.
You did get my email on the reminder. Did you get
Yeah,
it?
I got it.
so the only one's gonna make a changes to then is 504, we're gonna add that section in there about, combine the two together, right? And then, changing, 305 and adding 506. Right? And we won't vote on the other two till we get, when we get the new wordings and stuff for that.
For the
And,
4.16.
and 4.16 we'll add what you suggested. Any problems with 416? Jack?
No.
Well, I didn't wanna have another meeting, but I guess we're gonna have one next month then, huh?
Yep.
Cause we don't have that much more time, do we?
Because I know,
Actually, we're in fine shape. We're actually way ahead. Nerves just started.
I think it's, we've gotta have it to council in July.
Yeah, see, Newark might have a different timeline too, than what we got, according to the charter, we got.
Well, by the election, they actually set the time before the election. As to when you gotta have it to them in
Right.
late August, early
But
September.
Newark might do it on a general election rather than a primary.
Yeah, it could, I just don't know, but it'd be good to have it to the council so they can have 2 readings and then get it to the board.
Well,
If
okay.
we have an April meeting, we should be able to give it to them in May. That would be wonderful.
It says there's supposed to be tonight at 7, it's 25 after.
They're saying-
I think it coincided last time we had because of the, whatever
Well, it
Thursday.
says on the sheet up there.
Does it?
Yeah, it says
they're not-
tonight.
they're not here.
I'm sitting here waiting for it.
Maybe they canceled
I think I'm a loner.
Doesn't have to plan at all.
Just make a lot of decisions.
Yep.
Down at the bottom, Wayne's planning commission.
Thursday, March 22nd at 7 p.m.
Okay, mayor, planning commission,
He's
committee
he's the
chair.
chairman of it.
Heary.
Thursday night still sound good? If it's conflict, we might as well trigger who we have to, that's what the chambers.
Thursday's good for me.
Yeah, it's fine.
Let's see, talk about April.
Easter's on the 8th, I
19.
can tell you that.
I don't have anything going.
19th.
When is Easter?
The 8th.
Yeah, so that holiday or vacation is anything around that will be okay.
19th, 19th okay for you?
Mhm.
We'll have everything ready to go on that?
Yeah, I'll
Um,
have a draft, send it to, email to everybody ahead of time,
Okay.
so you have a chance to look at it.
Are we doing it at 6:30 again, or is there? To help coach out, or? you know,
Yeah, later's probably
think-
better because the daylight's gonna be
Yeah.
tough.
a little bit concerned with Dave,
Yeah,
so let's make it 6:30. I'll email it to you too, but that's that part on the mayor.
and if he even, if that's even a problem for Dave, you know, we could bump it to 7 or something, it wouldn't hurt me, my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Later,
7.
later's always better for.
And we gotta
Especially
come up with
summer.
rationales for these things too, for publication, so maybe we can figure out some wordings to that too.
Okay.
I could break out with my wordings on the meritorious, or the mayor thing, but.
So we wanna, right now, say the time is 6:30, but if that's a
18
problem for Dave.
18:30, come on, GI.
If that's a problem for Dave, we could even bump it out, if that's okay.
Sure, fine with me.
Yeah, just-
Dwayne, if you'd email me yours too, then I'll just
I will.
tweak it a little bit.
18:30?
I'll have it to you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need to go ahead and send it to Chris and Ron too tonight.
but you know what Ron's gonna say about.
Yeah, I agree with, well,
305, yeah.
see, he's been arguing with this for about, we've debated this topic for several years now, actually.
And Ron was the one that wanted to keep it to the council, but I don't think nobody else felt comfortable with that. The last meeting, so we're clear on that.
So your wording would just make it generic enough that council would figure it out.
That's it, leave it, I
Yeah.
would try to leave everything
Yeah.
up to how they do it, just that.
They would just fill
happen.
the position to be, by the remaining of the council.
In their vote, by using their vote. Okay.
There's
Now, those others we're talking about, there shouldn't be any,
that full.
they should be standalone, I don't, we're not changing any of the sections, are we?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So just make those two changes there, don't get it. And the possibility that they could approve one and not approve it, should affect the two different things.
Well, I was actually wondering too, and I've talked to Sue a couple times, over the wording and stuff, but, you know, we might be able to put the World Wide Web issues all in one issue, or a ballot issue.
Where would you put it?
Well, but no, I'm saying if you titled it correctly, you could include World Wide Web. in
So that
the-
you don't approve one and not approve the other one.
Yeah, you approve all three at the same time.
But if we're moving it under the mayor, it's only gonna be one anyway.
You may
No,
give
it'll
it its
still
own,
be-
It's still gonna be
Place.
under 16, so you still have two of them,
you would give it its own section.
just tie them together. Change section so-and-so and section so-and-so, so it's one vote. One vote.
Well, yeah, they'd all be basically one issue, because you're basically putting everybody on the World Wide Web. And, you know,
It all goes together.
together, and, I mean, I can't see ever being.
Can you call two sections in one,
Yeah.
in one ballot issue?
Because the issue is putting it on the web. That's the issue.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
yeah, that makes
and
sense.
you're just putting basically council, mayor's, auditor
Yeah.
on it.
And that's why I rewrote that one the way I'm doing it. On the same one, you're saying delete this and add this. Because you don't want them to go ahead and delete this and not approve this one, and you got another.
You're
No way to go.
defeating your purpose.
Yeah.
But from my understanding of talking to Sue Peeney down there, it can be done, it's just all in our wording. How we do it.
Now, do we, for the ballot, do we provide justification? A vote yes for this means? Or-
It won't be on the ballot, it'll be on the publications you sent out, to give you a rationale why you're doing it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's on the ballot.
On the ballot, you just have a title and then your amendments.
So, but the precursor to that
Yeah,
is the explanation. Okay.
yeah, the title is to give your explanation.
And for those is to make it available on the web.
Yeah.
So it give you simple words.
This is the only
Because you
example.
want them to know why you're making the change.
Separate 70-year.
Here, the center.
Hey, I saw Harry on TV about every day.
Yeah, I know, they're really making a big deal out of it, about her heart surgery.
What's heart replacement?
The
Very
quick
positive.
recovery.
First time I saw it, I said, "She looks good." Then when I saw Ernie, I said, "Oh, I know who that is."
Yeah, she had a heart transplant, and then was talking about in a surprisingly short time, she's already exercising, going to
Who is
exercise class. Harriet Foster, and just an amazing short amount of time. She's in her early 60s, and she's already working out, walking.
Okay, well now call the
Mile or two a day,
planning committee meeting to order.
That's great.
Anybody got anything to say? Close. Very good. Get both of them.
That's actually how the initiative charter, or the initiative petition read. I only got two of those, but that's just the beginning of it. You have a title and then you have text.
I got you.
That's how it shows on,
Second World War.
see, and that whole beginning there is the initiative petition being presented to council. And then we present it to council and then they make an ordinance out of it and send it to the.
And then there's that final check.
Somebody needs
The
their
board
hands
elections will kind of,
Right.
I would imagine.
You're there.
Okay, I'll let you do it.
But after our esteemed lawyer takes a shot at it, it'll be perfect.
But I didn't know.
Vote will be clear anyhow. It'll be clearly what you want or clearly what you don't want, one or the other, but it shouldn't be
We
confusing.
got lots of every time we schedule, it starts to rain and wind blows, so we haven't disposed.
All right, I'm gonna drive to North Carolina tomorrow.
Okey dokey.
Sunshine.
I think
Lots
it's supposed to
more.
rain.
Oh no.